This is a story about greed, desperation, and one man's hunt for easy money. In 2016, a message swept across Nigeria like wildfire. Join MMM and get 30% returns in 30 days. For a country struggling with economic hardship, high unemployment, and rising inflation, it sounded like hope. MMM Nigeria remains one of the biggest financial scams in Africa's history. As we speak, similar schemes are running, targeting the poor and the desperate. The country's inflation rate was over 15%, meaning that if you had $100 today, you could buy less than 87 cents worth of goods a year later. The unemployment rate was around 13%, and the minimum wage was just 18,000 naira per month. So when MMM offered people the chance to make a fortune in a few weeks, they were tempted. In a world where quick money and get-rich-quick schemes are all the rage, it's important to remember that there is no substitute for hard work and diligence. That's all for now. See you next time. And let's be honest, the idea was appealing. You don't have to work hard or smart. You don't have to take calculated risks or invest time and effort. All you have to do is to provide help, and the money will just come to you a month later. It was like magic, and people loved it. They promise big returns and lure people with testimonies, just like MMM did. But here's the thing, there is no free lunch in this world. By taking money from the new members and giving it to the old ones. This is how all Ponzi schemes work, and MMM was no different. When the scheme started in Nigeria, the first people to join didn't lose any money. In fact, they made a tidy profit. They were the lucky ones. But as more people joined, the money started running out. And when that happened, MMM froze accounts and people were left with nothing. It's a sad story, but it's also a cautionary tale. If something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And these schemes are masters at making the unbelievable seem real. People from all walks of life, teachers, students, market traders, even pastors joined the movement. It wasn't called a bank. It wasn't registered as an investment company. They simply called it a community of financial help. The process was simple. You provide help by donating money to someone in need, and 1 month later, someone else provides help to you with 30% interest added. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Secondly, do your research. If you're not sure about something, don't invest your money until you get answers. Thirdly, diversify your investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. If you want to invest, spread your money around so that if one thing goes wrong, you don't lose everything. Finally, remember that there is no such thing as a risk-free investment. If someone promises you a high return with no risk, they're lying. There is always some level of risk involved, and the higher the potential return, the higher the risk. It looked like a blessing. At first, it worked. People were cashing out. Social media was flooded with testimonies. Church members preached about it. Friends invited friends. Family invited family. Even some community leaders endorsed it. But behind the scheme was a man no one truly knew, Sergei Mavrodi. Mavrodi was a Russian ex-convict who had already run the same scam in his home country in the 1990s. He had cheated millions of Russians, been arrested and imprisoned. But when he was released, he turned his eyes to Africa, and Nigeria became his biggest target. MMM Nigeria wasn't registered with the central bank. It didn't operate through any licensed institution. It was a Ponzi scheme, and like all Ponzi schemes, it depended on new people joining to pay old members. Then came December 2016, just before Christmas, when thousands were waiting to withdraw their earnings. MMM froze all accounts. Panic spread. People couldn't withdraw. Promises turned to silence. The so-called system upgrade never ended. Some believed it would return. Others knew the truth. Their money was gone. It is estimated that over 3 million Nigerians lost their savings. Some lost 20,000 naira, others lost millions. Families were broken. Businesses collapsed. Some victims took their own lives. The government warned people not to join MMM, but the warning came too late for many. For many, the pain was already permanent. Sergei Mavrodi, the man behind the scam, died in 2018. He never returned a single kobo. And if you think this is a story from the past, think again. When MMM started in Nigeria, many saw it as a way out of poverty, and who can blame them? But how did MMM make this magic happen? So, what can we learn from it? For starters, don't trust people who promise you easy money. MMM may be gone, but its lessons live on.